Aloha, everybody. This is Cathy Bilsky, the Quantum Leap, Let Light Unite show on UPRN Radio. And this is Friday, July 26th, 2019. Today I have a really cool show, but it depends on your outlook because we're going to do one on Fukushima. I'm going to give you a nuclear update, a radiation report. For all you guys all over the planet, I have finally some world nuclear news, and you're not going to find that really exciting. And radiation tips if we get to it. But before we get to all that, I'm going to talk a little bit about other things. But we have a new radio host on UPRN Radio, and I want to introduce her to you. Hello, Seraphine. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you for having me on your show last second. I appreciate it. How are you?
Good. So welcome to the family. So tell people, you've got 2 shows going on. So tell them, everybody about it.
So starting on Monday, I will be doing my first show, which is daytime show. We'll be starting at 3:00, and I will have 2 very special guests. I will have Lorley Potvin from the Angel Rock, which you know from this station, and I will have Clarissa Vasquez, who is a paranormal researcher, investigator, and writer. I will be talking about communication with spirit and what goes on with that from 3 to 5 p.m. Central Time on Infinite Inquisition, and on Tripping the Void, which will happen on Tuesday. So you'll get me on Tuesday nights from 9 to 11 Central Time. And I talk about everything from the paranormal to dark subhuman culture to taboos. But I dig a little bit deeper and talk about stuff that makes a lot of people a little bit uncomfortable, but that's okay because we all need to learn. So, so it'll be fun.
You're doing it late at night, so you can do whatever. Oh, well,
but tastefully. But tastefully.
Yes. Well, I know you're going to do well, and you really have a lovely voice, I have to say.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, so we're going to move on, and I'm definitely going to tune into your show.
Well, thank you for having me on last second to say hi, and have a great show, Cathy. Nice to meet you, second-wise, and thanks, Joe, for everything, and we'll talk to you guys later. Have a nice night. Enjoy your weekend.
All right. Aloha.
Aloha.
Well, I would definitely tune into her show, guys, because it sounds really interesting. I have to say it's right up my alley. All right. So for those of you that have been listening to the show and partaking, there's a few things I'm going to talk about before I get to talk about the fun things about Fukushima. So while I'm talking about Mercury in retrograde, and we did the quantum leap into the world Enlightenment a couple months ago, and I always pay attention to what's going on in the world, and then I kind of have an idea whether or not how we've been successful or where the energy has been gone or went to, what's coming up. So there's some things that I really want to bring to your conscious mind of what I see happening on Earth. And also, there's something, we're in Mercury in retrograde. And for those of you that don't know what Mercury in retrograde is, if it can go wrong, it will. This is a time where you have communication challenges, your cars can break down, electrical things, your phones, computers. It's not a time for starting new business, but for finishing up old things. And remember that, you really don't want to start a new business or a new relationship. Because a lot of times when Mercury goes direct, it breaks up. Now, there's that rare occasion, but you never know, okay? You don't want to take the chance. So we are in Mercury in retrograde, which means also that if you have the appointment, it may not come together like you think or come together at all. So I always have a backup. in case my appointment falls apart, then have a backup for the backup. And then, man, you just got to learn to go with the flow, or the non-flow in this case. So that's Mercury in retrograde. Now, just to show you Spirit's sense of humor. All right, now remember, we're in Mercury in retrograde. So if it can go wrong, it will. So somebody had this really, really sense of humor, and they created this presidential seal, and they put it behind Trump while he was talking to some kids group. And it is the frigginest, funniest seal you will ever see, and so appropriate. You know, it's kind of insinuates Russia. The eagle in one hand has money, and in the other hand, it has golf clubs. And in Spanish, it says, oh my goodness, Trump is a traitor, or something like that. But you have to admit, it is funny. So Google it so you can actually visually see it. Now, remember, now this can also have to do with quantum leaping or energy work, but it definitely is Mercury in retrograde. They started impeachment inquiries today. Now, remember what I said about don't start anything new, but you can, continue, and you want to finish unfinished business. Well, this Trump thing's been going on for quite a while. So for them to start impeachment inquiry means that now they send out a subpoena and that person doesn't come, they actually will get jail time. And the Democrats have more power. So that, to me, it's exciting. Now, I don't know if you've noticed that the pedophiles are being busted all over the place. And I don't know if you've noticed that how many of them are actually ministers and priests and pastors. Yeah, it's crazy. But the big one was Jeffrey Epstein, and he was in child trafficking to the elite. So him actually, and this isn't like he got busted all of a sudden. This goes back 10 years ago when he was actually got out of being, well, he got prosecuted, but he got such a sweet deal that, like, he went to prison, but he got to come go to work during the day, and he never had his prison cell locked at night, and just all these privileges. And a lot of really weird things went on around the trial, where the prosecuting attorney made a deal with Epstein and didn't even tell his victims which was happening, which is against the law. So it was all covered up, and it all came up to the surface now. And the guy is now in jail, awaiting another trial. So, this ought to be good, because, he was really buddies with guess who? Da 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 dum 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 da da da. If you said Trump, you are right. Bing, 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 bing. Now, I don't know if you've also noticed that the indigenous tribes are kind of, not that they haven't been really voicing and coming out, but they are really coming out now and really banding together. Now, I live in Hawaii, and what is happening on Mount Mauna Kea, which is a very sacred mountain to the Hawaiians, and I got to go there. So I'm your witness. I'm going to explain to you what happened when I went up there. Now, briefly, what is going on is there's a conglomeration of countries, including Canada, Japan, the United States, China, and they want to put in the super duper incredibly huge 4 baseball field huge, 18-story high, which is not allowed on the islands anywhere, on top of Mount Mauna Kea. Now, to add drama to it, there's already 13 telescopes up there already, and supposedly 5 have been decommissioned years ago, but none of them's been actually taken down, and they're supposed to be decommissioned and removed off of the mountain. Now, there's 13 of them up there already, and actually only one of them was approved by the Hawaiians, and all their other ones are actually up there illegally. So now here comes this conglomeration saying, oh, we got to put this super, telescope up on Mount Mauna Kea because we just think it's the absolutely best place on earth to do it. And the Hawaiians have been fighting this to keep them off the mountain, and they've been successful for 5 years. And in those 5 years, they've gone to court. The governor and everybody has lied to the Hawaiians, telling them one thing and doing another. So they lost in court, the Hawaiians did. And I think they went to court again, and then TMT, they're going to start putting everything up on the mountain, all their equipment. Now, the governor, this is such good drama. The governor of Hawaii, Ige, decided that he was going to call a national emergency. So, and actually protect this conglomeration so they can put up their master super duper telescope, despite the wishes of the Hawaiians, and acknowledging that this is really a sacred place to them. And this is where they go up and they do a lot of prayers. And when people die that had any king, queen, whatever, they were honored. Also, they were buried on top of the mountain. So when they did put in the first telescopes, all those bones were scraped away and moved elsewhere. And that is illegal also. Okay, so Ige decided that the state of Hawaii was going to pay for the protection of the TMT telescope. And actually, the state of Hawaii is supposed to be looking out for the Hawaiians. At least that's in, all the legal papers. Yeah, not doing very well. Okay, and actually Ige also lied when he went on national television saying that, that there was a lot of disruption and a lot of fights. And I have to say, this is so totally lies and untrue. The Hawaiians are doing it with total love, total aloha. And if anybody thinks that they're going to fight or cause trouble, they're removed. There is absolutely no alcohol and no drugs up there at all. So the Hawaiians decided that they're done, it's enough, and they've made their stand on the mountain. And all the kapuna. Now, kapuna is a word for old people. And, since I'm 66, I guess you could call me a kapuna, but I'm talking older than me. And they decided they were going to stand up for the mountain. And they went up there with their tents and their sleeping bags. And, some of these kapuna are in wheelchairs and need to be taken care of. And they are the front line. Now, if anything happens, there are so many people up there that are camping out with them that all happens is the call goes out and you've got 8-9 layers deep of people that will stand in front of these kapuna now. Now, before this, they had other kapuna, and they actually took the police, carted them away because they would not get out of the way. And one of the police officers, went to one of the really elderly women and said, "Auntie, I'm sorry I have to do this. Would you please get out of the way?" And she says, "Oh, honey, we'll only get out of the way when you open up your heart." And he actually turned around and walked away. So, they're committed people, and you go up there. It's so organized. Super organized. If you're hungry, there's a tent for food. And it's all prepared food. If you're doing something wrong, like I started taking pictures of the kitchen, because to me, it's like, oh my God, people have got to see how incredible this is. All these people donating their time and all this incredible food for free. Well, I was told that they didn't want the kitchen taped. I said, okay, and I put my camera away. And he just was so gracious, saying, thank you, we appreciate it. And you're not being picked on, because the very next person next to me, who was also had her phone out, he said exactly the same thing. And then as I was walking out, he thanked me again for honoring him and his wishes. There was somebody walking around up there with a certain kind of oil to put on your face if you allowed it, so you wouldn't get burned, because you're really high up in altitude. So now with the kapunas, they had medical people in the tent, and they had heaters, because they're staying up there. They're not coming down during the day. Now there's a porta potty place on the Big Island called Big John's, and they donated some porta potties out there, and the state came in and told them that if they took the porta potties up there, and actually they did, because the people up there were paying for it, that the state was going to fine them money. And they finally turned around and said, fuck you. And they took the porta potties up there, and there's got to be 30 of them up there now. Absolutely no litter. Everyone is clean. Everyone is respectful. And it's very entertaining, because they're talking story, they're chanting, they're singing, they're praying, they're hula dancing. And on Wednesday, which was my birthday and I wasn't there, The Rock came up, the television actor, The Rock. He came up, and he's got Polynesian blood, to stand with them, to honor them. So, it's pretty exciting, because now Indigenous people all over the planet are really gaining strength from this, and they're standing firm, and they're going, no, we're not moving either. This is sacred space. Now, the TMT project, which is this telescope project up there, what it's called, their second choice was the Canary Islands, to move it if things didn't work out in Hawaii. Now, this has been going on for 5 years, and they have lost over $450 million so far. So, don't tell me this isn't military of some kind. But because of the stand of what the Hawaiians are doing and saying, we don't want this crap on our mountain, our sacred mountain, the Canary Islands are going, our mountain's sacred too, so we don't want it here either. Yikes. Now, for me, the Spirit has a way of telling me things, and I really have to listen and pay attention. And sometimes I only hear things one time. How people have slip of tongue. So there was this congressperson, a Hawaii congressperson, saying how we really needed to have the telescope up on Mount Mauna Kea, because, and he said, what happens if a big meteorite comes and they want to hit, it's coming toward Earth, coming toward Hawaii? Wouldn't it be great if we had a laser that could just knock it out of the sky? Sure would, but when did they start putting lasers up in observatories and telescopes? So all of this is coming up because we're sending out so much energy. People are feeling it. They're feeling their missions, and they're doing it. So this is just the beginning. It's going to get exciting, and impeachment inquiry is going to be popcorn time. All right, so did you get your doobies, and did you get your wine? Because now we're going to talk about some of the world events, nuclear events, and there is so much here that I am going to, just do blurbs, and then we're going to talk about what gives my producer the warm fuzzies, the radiation report for the United States, and talk about some radiation techniques, okay? How to stay healthy through all of this, as healthy as we can. All right, guys, are you ready? So this is the nuclear news. We're going to start with this. High radiation levels found in giant clams off of Marshall Islands near U.S. nuclear dump. Now you already know that the U.S. is really pigs. The Navy, the military, they make a mess and they never clean up their crap. I didn't say I wasn't going to read the news without making comments, did I? Okay. Oops. All right. The researchers have found high levels of radiation in giant clams near the Central Pacific site where the United States entombed waste from nuclear testing almost 4 decades ago, raising concerns. The contamination is spreading from the dump site's tainted groundwater into the ocean and the food chain. The findings from the Marshall Islands suggest that radiation is either leaking from the waste site, which U.S. officials, of course, reject, or that authorities did not adequately clean up radiation left behind from past weapons testing, as some in the Marshall Islands claim. Who are you going to side with? The government who lies or the Marshall Islands? I will go with the Marshallese people. All right, next. Gray whales are starving to death in the Pacific, and scientists want to know why. This is what I call a smack your head moment, guys. From Baja California to Puget Sound, scientists are seeing signs that gray whales are in distress, and they have no idea why. Don't you just want to smack them one? 31 dead gray whales have been spotted along the West Coast since January for most of the time of year since 2000, when 86 whales died. Dozens more have shown invisible signs of malnourishment, and sightings of mother-calf pairs are down sharply. All right. Stephen Schwartz, marine scientist who studies gray whales in Baja California, San Ignacio Lagoon, said 23% of the whales without calves his team has observed this year were skinny. That percentage is more than 3 times higher than usual, and then there's the missing calves. In San Ignacio Lagoon, research typically see at least 75 mother-calf pairs each year. This year, they've seen only about 40. Schwartz said, though none of them appear to be unusually thin yet. All right. Now we're going to go to, then I'm just going to give you blurbs because there's a lot in these. All right, why are pregnancy-related deaths rising in the United States? This is another one that I call a smack your head moment. What's happening? Pregnancy-related deaths are rising in the United States, and according to a new report from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 60% of those deaths were preventable. The U.S. is the only developed country in the world in which maternal mortality rates are rising. Yeah, that's because they love women so much and controlling them. And no one, I have to say, is actually addressing radiation. But, you know, doctors won't address radiation from the cell phones either. About 700 women die from complications related to pregnancy or childbirth at some point during pregnancy. during and immediately after childbirth, and for up to a year postpartum. And women of color had significantly higher rates of maternal mortality. Black women in particular were more than 3 times as likely to have a pregnancy-related death. The high rates of maternal mortality in the United States have been attributed to a combination of factors, including lack of access to insurance and medical care, poorly equipped hospitals, and an insufficient focus on postpartum health. And actually, racial bias makes Black women less likely to get the care they need. In a racist country like the United States, go figure. But actually, when I go through this, nobody, again, is talking about how the radiation, and there is high radiation. Fukushima, the nuclear accident, it's been going on for almost 9 years. That's a long time to be spitting radiation into the air. And then you have to add Chernobyl, the Russian accident that happened in Russia in 1986, when the number 4 reactor at the Chernobyl power plant blew apart. And facing nuclear disaster on an unprecedented scale, Soviet authorities tried to contain the situation by sending thousands of ill-equipped men into a radioactive maelstrom in an act. And, it's still happening today. And this is what they're doing in Fukushima. And actually, I don't know if you guys know, but the Japanese mob actually controls Fukushima. The Yakuza. And I have to say, they got to be brain dead, because if they don't think that all this radiation isn't hurting their families, their children, I mean, it's mind-blowing and crazy. So, to add to what's going on in Fukushima, you also have the radiation catastrophe in Chernobyl. Every time there is a forest fire in that area, it releases more radiation into the air. And actually, guys, all nuclear reactors leak. All of them. And in the United States, the nuclear reactors and where they do experiments, they are allowed to release a certain amount of radiation into the air every night and not tell everybody. Don't we have the coolest government? Not. All right, let's skip over to Scotland. I said this was worldwide, didn't I? Radioactive contamination triggers evacuation at shuttered nuclear sites in Scotland. Workers tasked with cleaning the decommissioned Dounreay nuclear facility in northern Scotland were evacuated from the site after human error resulted in low-level radioactive contamination. Then revealed. After an employee detected the contamination, a further investigation was quickly launched, revealing several other hotspots around the facility. Workers were immediately forced to vacate the area and work temporarily suspended, reported the Aberdeen-based Press and Journal. Site Managing Director Martin Moore told a stakeholder group on Wednesday that the contamination had been insignificant, gag me with a spoon, and was a result of a lack of due diligence in monitoring around one of the barriers. It was human error. It shouldn't have happened, and we're very disappointed that it did. I think my favorite 2 words of tonight are, my favorite words I want to bitch slap them. 5 words. I want to bitch slap them. The incident actually took place on June 7th, but was only revealed to the public on Wednesday, June 28th. Some people expressed anger that there was no public statement made on the day it occurred, although the Office for Nuclear Regulation was reportedly informed. And again, the officials from Doonray Site Restoration Company, tasked with decommissioning the plant, said that the measure had been precautionary and that the public was never in danger. There was no risk to members of the public, no increased risk to the workforce, and no release to the environment. Right. If I were you guys around that area in Scotland, I would want to know who these site restoration company is and, go have a little chat in their office and say, what the hell? And then talk to your government. This is not okay. Well, the DSRL has been working to decommission the site, which was shut down in 1994. Although they have also tasked with ensuring the area is decontaminated and clean of nuclear waste, they have already been censured for a safety violation at the same site in 2014 when a fire caused by employees released radioactivity into the atmosphere. Also, radioactive honey found near nuclear power station. And this is also U2 in Scotland, although if you also live around a nuclear station, you might want to have the honey checked in your area. Honey contaminated with nuclear waste has been found near a disused power station in Scotland. Scientists have confirmed with samples of the product testing positive for elevated radioactivity. The sample shows levels of radioactive cesium-137 that are 4 times higher than samples of honey from elsewhere in the United Kingdom, prompting scientists to call for an investigation into wider contamination at the site. The plant, which closed in 1994, no longer produces nuclear energy. It's still in the process of being decommissioned. However, independent nuclear energy consultant John Lard said bees are an important barometer of environmental health. And obviously, somebody is lying. These are key indicators of what is happening in the environment. Duh. All right, now, I mentioned a few times about racing horses dying of heart attacks. Well, David Hodges just released info on the autopsies from the horses who have recently died at his track, and their bones contain high amounts of strontium and cesium. Okay, that's West Coast, folks. Well, radiation will affect the large organs in your body, and the heart is one of the larger organs. So go figure. All right, let's jump to Norway. Why Norway wants its citizens to be preppers and stock up on iodine. Why? Because of the Chernobyl nuclear fallout. Excuse me. 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl. 3 Mile Island was a nuclear accident, by the way. Chernobyl, Fukushima, and the Marshall Islands, Runit Dome. Nuclear pollution will be around from 50,000 to 250,000 years unless we do our magic. Okay. But they have done said about some guy, Bill up in Alaska, said that radiation levels measured in a dead gray whale he discovered were higher than many of the salmon and halibut levels he had tested over the last few years. Bill claimed he could positively state that the gray whale was radioactive, although he did not know if that was the cause of its death. Duh. but he was highly suspicious. It was a factor. Bill also said that he did not believe that this was the only whale that has recently died that was radioactive. And as of today, they have not been able to find one salmon or halibut that was not radioactive. You know, we are just going to have to buy Geiger counters for when we go and go shopping. All right, that's it for the world news. Now we're going to jump over and I'm going to give the radiation level for the United States. Now I'm going to give credit to Bob Nichols. He's the one that puts this together, Veterans Today. I'm going to start at the country that's this city that it has the most radiation going down to the lowest. I don't know how much time, if I'm going to be able to get them all in. I'm going to do this very fast because there's over 100 cities and I can give you information on. Now, this is a cumulative radiation from last year and, 7 months into this year. All righty? Radiation, they say, doesn't go away. It's a cumulative. I'm also going to round it off to the nearest million. And I did say million. Also remember, any radiation level over 20 is not good for our health. Okay? Got that? All right. Take a sip of your wine. Smoke more of that doobie. Here we go. Highest radiation level city in the country of the United States, and I really wouldn't brag about this, guys, is Colorado Springs, and there are over 120,000. I'm sorry, 120 million. Whew. I know, sometimes it's just hard to comprehend. Yes, I did say 120 million. Portland, 114 million. Raleigh, North Carolina, 112 million. Little Rock, Arkansas, 110 million, and they just had a nuclear accident over there. Go Little Rock. Navajo Lake, New Mexico, 99 million. Spokane, Washington, 93 million. St. George, Utah, 93 million. Riverside, California, 92 million. Worcester, Massachusetts, 93 million. Fresno, California, 88 million. San Diego, California, 88 million. Denver, Colorado, 83 million. Idaho Falls, Idaho, 86 million. Phoenix, Arizona, 84 million. Boston, Massachusetts, 84 million. Atlanta, Georgia, 82 million. Tucson, Arizona, 80 million. Hartford, Connecticut, 80 million. Yuma, Arizona, 80 million. Grand Junction, Colorado, 79 million. Los Angeles, California, 79 million. San Bernardino, California, 79 million. Casper, Wyoming, 76 million. Concord, New Hampshire, 75 million. El Paso, Texas, 73 million. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 73 million. Reno, Nevada, 71 million. Billings, Montana, 71 million. Kansas City, Kansas, 70 million. Louisville, Kentucky, 69 million. Bakersfield, California, 69 million. Providence, Rhode Island, 69 million. Laredo, Texas, 68 million. Boise, Idaho, 68 million. Augusta, Georgia, 66 million. Shreveport, Louisiana, 66 million. Pierre, South Dakota, 64 million. Albuquerque, New Mexico, 65 million. Anaheim, California, 64 million. New York City, 64 million. Pittsburgh, 63 million. Cleveland, Ohio, 62 million. Kearney, Nebraska, 62 million. Charleston, West Virginia, 61 million. Richland, West Virginia, 61 million. Fort Smith, Arkansas, 61 million. Virginia Beach, Virginia, 61 million. Bismarck, North Dakota, 61 million. Lexington, Kentucky, 60 million. Lincoln, Nebraska, 60 million. Champaign, Illinois, 59 million. Salt Lake City, Utah, 59 million. Harrisburg, Virginia, 60 million. Rochester, New York, 60 million. Wichita, Kansas, 59 million. Corpus Christi, Texas, 59 million. Rapid City, South Dakota, 59 million. Tallahassee, Florida, 57 million. Tulsa, Oklahoma, 55 million. Amarillo, Texas, 55 million. Memphis, Tennessee, 54 million. Detroit, Michigan, 54 million. Lockport, New York, 54 million. Omaha, Nebraska, 53 million. Fort Worth, Texas, 52 million. Des Moines, Iowa, 51 million. Madison, Wisconsin, 51 million. Birmingham, Alabama, 50 million. Carlsbad, New Mexico, 49 million. Richmond, Virginia, 49 million. Knoxville, Tennessee, 49 million. Aurora, Illinois, 47 million. Eureka, California, 47 million. St. Paul, Minnesota, 46 million. San Jose, California, 45 million. Indianapolis, Indiana, 44 million. Chicago, Illinois, 44 million. Miami, Florida, 42 million. Yaphank, New York, 40 million. Houston, Texas, 40 million. Burlington, Vermont, 40 million. San Francisco, California, 40 million. And for those of you that have just tuned in, this is the updated radiation level for the United States. And I'm doing it, rounding it off to the nearest million. St. Louis, Missouri, 39 million. Las Vegas, Nevada, 39 million. Philadelphia, 39 million. Mobile, Alabama, 38 million. Nashville, Tennessee, 37 million. Duluth, Minnesota, 37 million. Dallas, Texas, 37 million. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 36 million. Paducah, Kentucky, 35 million. Madison City, Iowa, 35 million. San Antonio, Texas, 30 million. Tampa, Florida, 29 million. Fairbanks, Alaska, 27 million. Washington, D.C., 26 million. And at the bottom, once again, is Anchorage, Alaska, at 21 million. Woo! I didn't think I'd get through that. Well, as you can hear, the United States and whole world is pretty radiated. So you guys got to keep that in mind, and you have to do more cleansing. What do I do to stay healthy? Oh my God, I consider myself high maintenance. I take a lot more vitamins than I used to, and sometimes I have to take a lot of, one kind. When I feel like I'm coming down with a cold, I call that Fukushima flu because I'm reacting from the high radiation. And I go get liquid vitamin D3. And if I get it in the morning, well, as soon as I get it, I take a full capful. Say if I do that in the afternoon, at night before I go to bed, I'll take another capful. I'll do it another in the morning. And then depending on how I feel, I will cut it down until I'm not taking it. But for that, it really kicks the cold out because you're giving yourself you're boosting your immune system. Now, if I'm really feeling miserable, I add enemas to it. And I know people hate it when I talk about it. And, I don't care. Do it or don't do it. Depends on how quick you want to get well. And I also recommend if you're going to do a parasite cleanse, you're going to want to do an enema. What happens, if you're sick and you go to bed and with the parasites, you kill the parasite, they release gases. The gases are poisonous. That makes you sick. So you just go to bed at night with a cold. You've got that cold recirculating your body. If you pull it out using an enema, you're clearing it out of your body. and you're going to heal quicker. And, it might just take one night of that. Do it, don't do it. I don't care. But coming from someone who didn't do it and now does it, I recommend doing it because, man, I don't like being sick. So what else do I do other than take a heck of a lot of vitamins and vitamin D3? I sleep on Angelite. That's under my bed. And Angelite is very, very healing. I've had to get rid of burns and bruises overnight and heal cancers and tumors and cysts. And when I broke my little finger, I made myself a splint out of Band-Aids and Angelite, and I healed it in 3.5 weeks. You can also take a piece, put it in water because it's a mineral, and it'll slowly dissolve, not like aspirin, but just real slow. And if you drink the water, your bones will get stronger, your hair will actually get thicker and grow. So, for those of you who've got visual, see how my hair looks pretty thick. Now, when I was growing up, I had baby fine hair, and it stopped growing, about up to there. And I was mineral deficient. So once I started getting Angelite, ingested Angelite, my hair started getting thicker and it grew. Now I also, because I want a really thick hair, I add, have you ever heard of Knox gelatin? And it's plain, so I add that to juice of some kind, and you put it in the refrigerator, and it comes out pretty solid like Jell-O. I cut it into cubes, and I eat a couple cubes a day, and it also helps your hair grow and get thicker. And then every now and then I'll throw honey in it and go out in the sun, and it brings out the highlights. And something I've also started doing is taking CBD oil. I find my hair loves it. It makes it very, very shiny. And if you've got visual, you can see how shiny it is. But that's, again, high maintenance. And I want hair. I want thick hair. I'm 66, guys. Congratulate me. I just had a birthday. Yay. You want to see what I did on my birthday? I posted it on my Facebook page. My girlfriend took me to the Hilton for the day, and I got to play on the water slide and did all kinds of fun things. Anyway, getting back to radiation cleansing, I also take a bath, and I put in at least a pound of salt, a box of baking soda, and either a pint or a quart of hydrogen peroxide, depending on how I feel. Now, the hydrogen peroxide puts oxygen back into your body, which we are deficient of. And the baking soda and salt pulls out toxins and can help clear out the aluminum that they dump on us, whoever they are. And you're going to find that you're going to have a lot more energy. And, when I go to the store, I buy about 12 bottles of hydrogen peroxide because I hate going, I like having a stock. I live on an island. For me to get to the store that's, the cheapest, it's like a 45-mile drive. Anyway, one way, okay? I also drink reverse osmosis water, and it's the only water purifier that will take radiation out of your water. I'm worth it, If you can, eat as much organic as you can. However, you think that just because you're eating organic that you don't have to take any vitamins. It's not the same as it was a while back, because you really need, the plants don't have the nutrients in them like they used to. So we really do have to supplement our bodies with vitamins and minerals. You might want to put a little dab of iodine on your throat every now and then, because when you do, it strengthens your thyroid. And I definitely do this before I get on an airplane to fly and right after we land. Protect my thyroid. I also wear a mask when I fly because I don't want to breathe what everybody else is breathing. And If you will find, if you'll notice that however they make the planes, that the fumes from the planes goes right into the plane. I found when I wear a mask and I take it off to eat, my lungs fill up with fluid. I put it back on and start breathing clean air. My lungs clear up. So, to me, it's a no-brainer. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. And again, when you go outside, you've really, really got to be careful, because radiation can affect your heart, can affect your bones. I mean, how many people do you know have died from heart attacks? Too many. And again, the doctors won't say heart attack from radiation. And it can also, the radiation can amplify whatever you have. And how many people do you know that have beaten cancer, that the cancer all of a sudden has come back with a vengeance and they're dead within a couple months? So, you do the best you can, you cleanse as much, eat as much, and for God, have a little bit of chocolate, enjoy life. Just understand that these are not normal times. We have to be a little bit more careful. We want to be healthy. And then share, talk to people about it so they can do this also, because you want your friends around. You don't want everybody to check out before you do. And talk about it and do energy work. Next week, we're going to do energy work for the planet, because it definitely needs it. Probably do a circle. And I will throw in curse removal, because I'm sure everybody's in need. So if you want, you can give me a call at 808-775-9400 at my store if you need energy work done. Or if you want to order crystals or angel light or any of the healing tools that I have, check me out on Facebook, my YouTube channel. Curse removal is there. Soul retrieval is there that you can do for free. And if you want, you can call me up on the phone, and I do it over the phone. I do take donations. Or come to my store, which is more fun in Hawaii. What a wonderful excuse to come to Hawaii, don't you think? And you go play with the dolphins, get a healing, just enjoy life, because it is Hawaii. So on that note, we're going to close, and this is Cathy Bilsky, the Quantum Leap Let Light Unite show on UPRN Radio. Again, this is Friday, July 26th. Have a wonderful week. Keep putting out that light and calling down divine enlightenment to the planet, because it does make a difference. You're making a difference. Together, we're making a difference. Talk about enlightenment. Keep it going, guys. All right, on that note, I'm going to say aloha. Catch you next week. Thank you for tuning in. And sorry if I was Debbie Downer tonight, but somebody's got to talk about Fukushima and radiation. I guess it's me. All right, good night, guys. Aloha.